questions from the last couple of sections. Remember, everything is stop and start. Okay, so let's convert 7 yards to feet. All right, well, and there are two ways we can do this. We had the technique where we look at little to big, big to little, and we also have the technique where we consider canceling out all of the units, leaving only the units we're looking for in the end. So if I want to go 7 yards to feet, I notice that there's 3 feet in a yard, and that allows me to kill the yards, and that's 21 feet. That's an example of when I put the units down with the conversion factor of 3 in such a way that the yards will cancel out and it'll leave you only with feet. For the next one, I do the same thing, but this time I'm converting inches to feet, so I put down 1 foot and 12 inches, and then the inches are eliminated, and that's 19 feet. And on the last one, this is a multiple stepper, 11 yards first, then 3 feet in a yard, and then 12 inches in a foot. That allows you to cancel or eliminate the yards and the feet, and that gives me 396 inches. Just the first one, if you did it the other way, you would say, I'm going from big to small. Big to small is multiply, and the factor is 3. So 7 times 3 is 21, and you're looking for feet, so the answer is feet. Okay, exchange rate, euros, dollars, etc. Go ahead. Okay, so how many dollars are 85 euros worth? So what I'm going to say is it's 85 euros times $1.14 per euro. So this is very similar to working with the units. Canceling out the euros, and I'm left with $96.90 in dollars, okay? How many euros are $250 worth? Well, $250, and the euros are worth 88 cents per dollar. This is the big thing to catch on here. I wanted the answer to the first one to be in dollars, so I set it up that the euros would cancel each other. The second one, I wanted the answer to be in euros, so I set it up that the dollars would cancel each other. That works out to 220 euros. Next up, practice problem. So we know we always want to draw a picture first. We do that. And this is an important consideration because I noticed this on 1 or 2 students' homeworks. When I'm going to multiply for volume here, it's length times width times height, and that's feet times feet times feet. It's not feet plus feet plus feet. If it was feet plus feet plus feet, your answer is feet. Just like if I added, say, chocolate chip cookies with chocolate chip cookies and chocolate chip cookies, I get chocolate chip cookies because you're adding them. But if I multiply, that's a whole different deal. And I'm multiplying the feet right here. I have feet times feet times feet. So when I do that, I get 448, not feet, but feet cubed. Just like you do 14 times 8 times 4 to get the 448, since you're multiplying here, if I did x times x times x, it would be x to the third. So feet times feet times feet is feet to the third. Now, another way to do this is to go, if you're going from feet to yards, you're going from small to big. And because we do want to get this into cubic yards, if small to big, you have to divide. The factor is 3, but that 3 is cubed. So you're actually dividing by 27. 3 times 3 times 3. 448 divided by the 3 cubed, or the 27, is 16.59 yards cubed, or 16 and 16/27. You could also set it up with denominators. 1 yard into 3 feet, 1 yard into 3 feet, 1 yard into 3 feet. And you notice then that your feet are all going to go die-die, and you're left with yards times yards times yards. See that? Feet all go die-die, they cancel out. You're left with the yards times the yards times the yards, which is the yards cubed. So pay attention to those exponents on things like feet and yards. Find the area in square yards of a rectangular room that measures 18 by 21. Stop and start. Okay, so the area is going to be length times width, which is 18 times 21, feet times feet. So that's 378 feet squared. Well, they didn't say that. Oh, it does want square yards. Look at that. So if it wants square yards, Well, yards would be small to big, so I need to divide. But I'm going to not divide by just 3, even though the factor is 3. I'm going to divide by 9. And that's 42 square yards. And again, if we looked at it this way, if I wanted to convert square feet to yards, for each of those square feet, there is 1 yard and 3 feet and 1 yard and 3 feet. That's 42 square yards. And of course, the feet would all go die-die, leaving you only with yards squared. It's also worth noting that you could have converted each to yards right away. You could have made, I should have changed 5 yards to 6 yards. You could have changed 18 feet to 6 yards, not 5 yards, 6 yards. 21 feet to 7 yards, and 6 yards times 7 yards is 42 square yards. Make sure you realize it's 42 square yards. Next one up. Human heart beats about 70 times per minute. If an average human lives to 78 years of age, how many times does the heart beat in a lifetime? Stop and start. Okay, let's underline some important stuff here. 70 times per minute, 78 years old. How many times in a lifetime? So let's go with the second strategy where we cancel out until left with only beats. I like to do this when you get into so many manipulations. So 70 beats per minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year, and 78 years. So canceling out the minutes, then the hours, then the days, then the years. And I'm left with simply multiplying 70 times 60 times 24 times 365 times 78. And I love the fact that the beats are what's left here. So multiplying it all out, I get 3,197,750,400 beats. That's a lot of heartbeats. Okay. Treat the units like variables. Okay. Just like if you had x over x, you could reduce them. Minutes over minutes, you can reduce those as well. Last review question coming up here. Convert degrees to Celsius, Celsius to degrees. Go ahead. So for the first one, I always begin with the formula F equals 9/5 C plus 32. If you choose to use the other formula, namely that C equals 5/9 and then in parentheses F minus 32, you are more than welcome to do that. There's no problem with that whatsoever. I just don't like memorizing two formulas if I don't have to. So first thing I'm going to do here is substitute the fact that Celsius is 25. So then I do 9/5 of 25, which works out to be 45, and then plus the 32 is 77. And if I want to convert 77 to Celsius, I better darn well come out with 25 degrees, don't you think? Start with the same formula. This time I'll put a 77 in for F. Subtract the 32 from both sides. 9/5 C is 45, divide by 9/5, which in years past we would teach you to multiply by 5/9, but with calculators, life has changed. So just do 45 divided by 9/5, which is also 1.8, and you will get that C is equal to 25. So it shows that the same conversion works both ways for each of those numbers. All right, that is the end of our review questions.